Hey y'all, this is Brandon Bohannon here. I'm the owner of Mexican Oak in Denton. I wanted to try something a little differently. Um, Specifically, I want to use this video to respond to Google reviews. Most often, I think what kind of is standard with a lot of companies, including some of the ones that I'm involved with, we just write something generic on a Google review like, hey, sorry to hear your experience. Reach out to us and we'll correct the issue. And so with this, what I want to try to do as we get out of the gates here with Mexican Oak, I want to actually address some of the reviews from Google directly. And I'll do this for a bit for the next few months, or a few weeks, maybe a few months, just so that I can make sure that I'm addressing people's concerns, ratings, whatever, and kind of talk through how we look at these as a group and respond to these and some of the adjustments that we make. So last week was our first week in business at Mexican Oak. So we shut down after 3 services of soft opening, and we opened on Tuesday of last week. So Tuesday through Sunday, I want to share a couple statistics with you. We saw 1,795 guests, so almost 1,800 guests in 6 days. Very excited about that. The reason I point out the amount of guests that we saw was we were basically hitting what I would be comfortable with for our capacity, given that we only had a few weeks of cooking all the food together, going through the trainings, things like that, and then obviously opening up for your first week. We don't want to provide an experience that's less than 5-star to people, and so we try to kind of limit that. I would say that 1,800 guests almost, or 5 short of that, kind of pushed us to the max. But I went through and looked. We've received 21 Google reviews, and real fast, the thing about Google reviews, Yelp reviews, any types of rating reviews on restaurants and any local business are very important. They help, with your SEO on promoting or demoting, I guess, your position in which you show for people looking for restaurants, or in some cases like the air conditioning companies, air conditioning service. And so they really do impact the business. Most reviews are helpful. There are things that we can take away from some of the, I'm going to call them suggestions, or, the critique of what we're doing in order to better the restaurant. And so I want to address those. We received, like I said, 21 reviews. If you take 21 reviews over the almost 1,800 folks that we had, the 1,795, we only received 1.17% of our guests left reviews. So of all the folks that we served, less than 2% of them left reviews, which is pretty, normal. 1.17% is what we had. And of those, the breakdown was we had 13 5-star reviews, 2 4-star reviews, 2 3-star reviews, 1 2-star review, and 3 1-star reviews. Too often, I think we skim over the positive reviews and kind of go directly towards the lower rated ones or the negative ones, because that's where we find that we can, find opportunities to improve the service. So I want to start, I guess, with those. I do want to say thank you to the folks that did have a good experience and took the time to leave a 5-star or 4-star review. And same, thanks to those that left the other ones, because we're going to learn and get better from that. So let's start with the 1-star reviews. The 1-star, there's one 1-star review that is here at the top from Alonzo Rosales. I hope I said that correctly. The review was 1 star and just said, "I already do not like this place. No one answers the phone." We've looked into the phone system, and so we do think there actually was a issue this last week with our phone system. Technically, I can tell you kind of what was going on. We use a phone system that routes phones to different locations, and we think that actually the proximity of our local landline to the router that we use to direct the phone actually messed up our phone quality and how frequently we received all the calls. So we've adjusted that. We made that adjustment last weekend, I think on Sunday, so yesterday morning, maybe Saturday morning. So hopefully we get that. That's working. We've tested it. It looks like it's working. So Alonzo, sorry that you don't like us for that reason, but please give us another try, give us another call, and hopefully that's resolved. There were 2 other 1-star reviews. One from Arc Arc Light Life Love. I'll read it to you. What a disappointment, and makes me miss Barley and Board even more. I miss Barley and Board as well. Love that restaurant when it was rocking. No flavor, no spice, not authentic at all. Decor doesn't make up for boring food. Thankfully, we have delicious, authentic Mexican food on every corner in Denton. Maybe they don't realize music is the Denton vibe too, because they missed the mark on that too. Terrible music. The other 1-star review that we got was similar. It was around the music as well. Music was entered. It was the review there. I don't actually have the name of the reviewer in my notes here, so that's my bad. But there was the other 1-star review. Basically said, just your typical whitewashed, authentic Mexican, in quotes, restaurant. It was aesthetically pleasing like El Taco H. The food was mid, no flavor besides salt and lime. The music selection could have been better. We walked into a high school musical. Okay, so 2 1-star reviews pointing to our music. I don't know what date folks were in. We did spend a long time. Actually, our assistant general manager, Jordan Davis, put together a really comprehensive, playlist basically for the restaurant. I think she added like 16 hours of music. So when you add that much, God knows what's all going to be showing at any time. We are looking at our music selection. We like the kind of upbeat hip vibe. Not all, Mexican or Hispanic music, kind of a blend of everything, trying to keep a kind of a, hip, fun vibe. High School Musical and things like that obviously shouldn't be on the playlist necessarily, but understand that there are some frustrations by those 2 folks with the music. So we are looking at updating our playlist. And they weren't the only ones in there. There was Tori Talkington, left a 3-star review. Said music was terrible, killed the vibe. Went from Elvis to Shrek soundtrack to the Cha-Cha Slide. It needs to be Latino music. They said our service was not good, but the food was tasty. So obviously we're always working to improve service. We were wildly overstaffed this week, so hearing service being an issue is concerning, but we will address it and make sure that our service is on par with what we hope is exceptional. Love that you found the food to be tasty. In regards to the 1-stars on the food being bland, I don't know what to tell you there. I think that's there's a personal palate preference. We had a lot of folks of the 1795 that really enjoyed the food. So perhaps it was something from a dish that was, prepped incorrectly, but we'll definitely review our, prep recipes, and we'll make sure that all the food is completely consistent. And that hopefully the majority of folks will like what we're putting together. In terms of like authenticity and things like that, I mean, you've got Chef George, Jorge Romero, Chef George to me, working his butt off, pulling together an entirely new team, getting them all spun up and serving 1,800 guests in a week. He's had, roughly 3 weeks to a month to prepare for that. So it'll get better. I think some of the stuff like that is kind of to be expected. So I'm sorry that the experience that you had with the taste of your particular food wasn't there. Hopefully of the, 1795 people that did have other experiences, they did enjoy their food. We try to taste, obviously everything that goes out when we're prepping for the day. So all of our sauces and things like that, and salsa, everything, to make sure it's right. So, just bear with us. It's our first, week. You're probably, it looks like some of this was there, like our 2nd or 3rd day that we were actually open. So that'll improve, and we'll work diligently to make sure it improves. The rest here, so there's, let's see, Jennifer Klinghorn, again, the salsa lacking flavor. We do offer 3 salsas. Keep in mind, kind of our salsa that goes out on every table is kind of our mid-level in terms of like spiciness or whatnot. It's our chipotle salsa. But we do have other salsas, and our servers should be suggesting those if you don't like what we have on the table. We kind of have one that's more generic to kind of be more universal for everyone, but we do have spicier salsas. We've got quite a bit back there. So if you want something different and you're coming to try out Mexican Oak, we've got a bunch of different salsa options. Lunch menu, Jennifer also said, The lunch menu is very abbreviated and overpriced, $15 to $20 for 3 tacos with no sides. Chicken tacos are bland, no polish, we're okay. Table settings are pretty, but music selection is atrocious. Address the music selection. Want to address again, I think I addressed the tacos, and I think that generally our proteins, flavorings, and spices are really, really good, so perhaps it was just a miss. And by the way, if you ever have any issues with food in our restaurant at all, ever, let a manager or your server know, and we will always, take care of it and make it right. In terms of price, I do want to address the price. So I sent this to our team over the weekend as it pertains to lunch menu. Actually, let me address price second. First, let me address the limited menu. This was our first week of opening, so literally week 1 out the gate. It was I think Tuesday was our second time to even try to serve lunch. So I think there was improvement throughout the week, but we did open intentionally both dinner and lunch menus with more of a limited menu to make sure we got our feet wet and kind of catch our stride before we open up and add on to the menu. But we will add on to the menu. We are going to add a lunch fajita portion very quickly to our menus. For those that were in Saul, spent time with us this week, you may even notice that our menus were like papered menus. There are always going to be like little tweaks and changes that you've got to make that you realize right when you open a restaurant. And so we actually didn't print our final menus that we'll be using going forward. This was more of our, let's get this out there, let's get it to a bunch of guests, and let's get feedback and then make the edits we need. So we will start we use like a synthetic paper that's more durable. And those, when you see those are our final menus. We're just not quite there yet. We think that we'll be there here in the next couple of days. So got a lot of good feedback from the weekend on things that we want to adjust. I made a huge mistake, for example, purely just a typo on our chicken dish, on our Platos Clásicos. I left it at $46 on the first menu draft that we did. And somehow that made it through all the different edits and tweaks, and really supposed to be $26. So that's a mistake I made. Mistakes happen. We correct them and we'll get them better. But yeah, in terms of pricing, let's talk about that. So our lunch prices, that's actually something I'm very proud of. I love, personally, I love the bowls and things like that, something that's healthy and lighter for lunch. I personally eat Chipotle bowls, for example, multiple times a week, probably 3 or 4 times a week. I love it. I think they're a great go-to. So we were trying to basically give an option to local business, local folks with local businesses that are looking for lunch spots or to-go spots. That's why we really focused in on the bowl thing to start. We priced it at a point that it barely breaks us even from a business perspective during that time period, but also tried to keep it in line with a fast food or fast casual concept like Chipotle. So I think our bowls start at $15 and go up to as high as $20. Mind you, obviously they're coming with chips and salsa and all that stuff. And so when I look at like our chicken bowl and I compare it to Chipotle where I eat, we're actually very, very close in price point to a Chipotle when you factor in the chips and salsas and drinks. So I'm not terribly concerned with the price point yet, although if I hear more feedback, then we'll have to look at it. But in terms of like how we're doing it, these are items that we're running at a very low margin, attempting to kind of break even on that business. The thought process there was that we would hopefully provide a good lunch experience and get people in to try us for dinner, but really lunch is there to support kind of the local folks that are looking to grab a bite. So I think, looking at the sit down concept where we're at, getting it to a price point that's very competitive with like a Chipotle for lunch will help us. In terms of the tacos, not coming with beans and rice or anything like that, we'll look at it and see if we need to add. I do agree that I think I would have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure our tacos go from, they hover around the $15 mark. So $5 a taco or just under $5 a taco is kind of where we're at. I think that our cost on those are close to like $2 or $2.50 a taco, given the products that we're using. So I think we're hitting like a 50% gross margin on that, setting aside the labor cost to make those or any overhead and things like that. So really very close to just break even. But I wanted to share that with you guys to know like the price point is kind of where the price point is, and we're trying to be as competitive as we can. We really can't go much lower than that without operating at a complete loss from a gross profit perspective. So I appreciate the feedback on that, but that's kind of where we're at. So I apologize if that's out of the price point, or if you think that we're off there. It's how we're thinking about it. The rest of the reviews were pretty positive. I think that, let's see, Rudy B did leave a 3-star. That was around the lunch limited offering. So again, intentional. We'll get better. Bear with us. Apologize that that it was a 3-star experience for you with the limited lunch offering. And then from there, it went up to 4 and 5 stars completely. So I want to shout out to all those folks who helped us with that. Hector, 4-star review. Everything was good. Basically, well-appointed bar, variety of tequilas, had the queso fundido and skirt steak, fajitas. Food and service was good. So, appreciate the positive stuff. Not a lot to do in terms of the, critiquing there, but really appreciate that. Another 4-star with no no text to it. And then from there, it was all 5 stars. So shout out to Brian Campbell for the 5-star review, Aaron Wood, 5-star review, Jenny Martin, 5-star review, Austin Fritchie, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, so I apologize, Austin. 5-star, really appreciate it. Victoria Bell, Hale Sparkman, Lee Ding, 5 stars. So Marissa Martinez, Abigail Sanchez, Michael Harmon, and Hunter Stevens. Really appreciate all those 5 stars. Again, to give you guys an idea, these do really actually impact our business, the reviews, so we take them very seriously. For us to see the 1,795 guest and have 3 1-stars, or 0.17% negative of the guests that we saw, I think is actually overall a success for our first week, our first 6 days of being open, and we'll work towards improving and using the feedback that you all provided to make sure that we're the best restaurant we can be. So thanks a lot for everyone for trying us. That's kind of our recap. I'm going to put these on YouTube and then post a link to the YouTube in y'all's reviews so you can see this and see that I'm addressing them directly, as opposed to sending you some generic, hey, sorry, we'll get better. I actually am thinking about this. Our team thinks about this and sees these, talks about them a lot, and just wants to make sure that we are communicating to you all that we hear you and we're working on it. Thanks a lot.